Welcome to episode 3 of the off-season. Tonight we're in Downpatrick GAA club where we're going to be speaking to Caolan Mooney, 2022 Down captain. Yes, Caolan.
Ian, how are you, mate?
MacRory, nice to meet you. How's things?
Oh, it's good, mate. How
Welcome to episode 3. Good to have you.
Exciting to be here.
Yeah. So you know what's going to happen here today? We're going to have a bit of a chat, okay? There's a perfect 1 kilometre distance right around the pitch, okay? We'll have a bit of a chat. We'll go through a couple of things, okay?
Look forward to it.
We'll dive right into it.
Into history.
Stuff. Okay, Caolan, so at the start of every episode, I like to take the people back to their underage. I'm going to take you right back to about 15 years.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I was going to say 20, but you're not that age yet, okay? So
Under 10, that would be.
yeah, so under 10s, we'll start there. Your club at under 10s was Restrevor, is that right?
Restrevor, yeah. I'd say underage. Lack of success. Good teams, but just seem to meet burn every year in the semi-final and just always get pipped by a point.
Right, okay.
Right, I mean from 10, 12, 14, and
Right.
then we pipped them at 16, so.
Right, okay. But you were Division 1. You were competing
We would have been
at the highest level.
South Down. We would have split it to South Down, East Down.
Okay.
So even in like leagues at that stage, you were playing South Down, and then
Right.
maybe as you went under 16, it spread out to all county and stuff. So
Right, okay. And how many, so yous were what side of Down then, Restrevor?
Down.
South Down, okay.
Yeah.
How many teams, let's say, in that division?
oh, you could have had 12.
Right, okay.
12
and
and
12
then-
on the other side?
Yeah, there would have been 12 up around East Down, but then there would have been some clubs that played a bit like senior now,
Yeah.
played a wee bit of a lower league.
And if you won, let's say, South Down, would you play the other side at all?
We play the all county, yeah.
Okay,
So
that,
that's the way that would work.
that's really different. And that would go right up until, let's say, minor, would it be?
Yeah, right to minor. Yeah,
Okay.
and just all county then.
And Burn beat you 10, 12, 14, 16.
No, we beat them 16.
Right, okay.
But
You started to evolve a bit as you got older, a bit stronger.
I'd say that was maybe the evolution because we never kicked on after it.
Right, okay.
That was the pinnacle, just finally getting over them. But in my second year at minor, so it was just a year above me,
Yeah.
we beat Burn in the semi-final and then ended up meeting Kilcoo in the minor final 2010, but we ended up getting beat by, I think, 5 points.
Now, Kilcoo was south as well?
No, this is minor.
Okay.
So that would have
So there
spread
was-
all county.
Right, okay. So when you got to minor, you were still Division 1, you were still up there?
Yeah,
up
would
the
have
top.
been playing all county league, yeah.
Right, okay. And now, I'm bringing it back now. You would have, from my remembering, because I'm only a year older than you, you probably would have played minor when you were 16 and stuff. How many years did you play?
I actually came on as a sub in 2007 and in the Ulster Club when I was only 14.
No way.
Yeah.
In Ulster Club up in St Paul's?
Yeah, we got beat by Ergel Cairn by a point.
Right, okay.
So my dad was the coach and they put me under a fake name, but he put me on as the right name. So
Right, okay. But you that was illegal at that time, was it?
so here you have to live on the edge, don't you?
Right, okay. So 2004, you're 14, you're coming on in Ulster. Did you get
Semi-final. That
semi-final Ergel Cairn? Did Ergel Cairn go to win that?
to be fair, once I'm beat, I don't really pay any attention.
Right, okay.
So I couldn't even tell you. We actually beat Scottstown in the quarter-final that year in Casement,
What, it's 2004?
2007.
2007, sorry, right, okay.
And that would have been playing.
Yeah, because I'm getting mixed up now because QG's last year went on the same competition, under 21s at the same competition, didn't they? In St Paul's. And they got beat by a team in Derry, but Kilcoo actually beat my final year minor in that. The likes of Darragh Hanlon was playing and the Johnson's playing, Ryan Jones. But so you played, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years at minor?
4 with a break in between because I didn't play when I was 15 technically.
Right.
So, well, I didn't really play. Like I never played any of the Down Championship, but I just always trained with them, and they were just like, they just looked at the bench and were like, right, come on.
Right, okay,
Let's
good,
go. I was
good
like,
stuff. And you never won the minor championship in
Well, in my tenure, no, but Restrevor won it 2004, 2005, 7, and then a couple more in between. So, and then the Ulster Club, they won in 2004 as well.
Right, okay.
So they had a bit of success, but the success fairly dried up as I got a wee bit older.
Right, now the main success at that age, if I'm right, was 2010, 2011. We're talking schools now. At this stage, you had a great 2 fantastic years. You'd done back-to-back MacRory's and back-to-back Hogan's, is that right?
Correct, yeah.
So talk me through that. That must have been, so what year were you in school in 2010?
I was 6th year. I did 5 years at a vocational school in Warren Points at Marks.
Okay.
We actually won an under 14 down title. We got beat by Ballygolly in the semi-final of that competition.
Right.
So I only moved to the college for 2 years, so it was a good omen. Like,
okay.
Two Hogans, 2 MacRorys and 2 A-levels. It's all 2s for me.
Wow. And we're going to get into 2010, 2011 a little bit later. I have a couple of clips I want to show you from those years. But in 2010, did you have the same managers? Who was the managers in the school, 2010, 2000?
Yeah, it was the same teacher, so Caolan Mooney, Dackie Musson, Barry Kelly was vice principal, and I can't even think of him. He was just the one that used to run us like dogs during the winter, like, so I don't even want to remember. Yeah,
there were some massive names in that team. Now, what struck me as well, when I looked at the 2011 team, there was a lot of the 2010 team still there. There wasn't that many that left.
Yeah, we were pretty lucky actually, and like I went in, I didn't really understand half the stuff or half the players, and then you sort of get to know them, and yeah, we were so lucky. I think like 8 starters ended up pushing through to the 2011 team, and then you got a couple of boys coming through. Like you actually obviously lost Shane McCartan, who went to Burnley, so there would have been another. He would have been another factor adding into that there. So I would just 2 lucky years in terms of 2010 was a team that I don't think anyone would have beat us. In 2011, you just had enough experience with youth coming through that just steady the ship, but it definitely wasn't.
Captain 2010 Portland was.
Portland, and then 2011, Niall Donnelly was captain, but he got taken away from it, but then got reinstated.
Oh my God! What? How does that work?
Do you want to know the story? Majority of our MacRory team was playing or doing construction.
Okay.
So there was like a deal close to like Halloween or something in the goat carting place, so we were like, right, we'll all just scatter, and it only left like 2 people in the class, so it got pretty obvious that we all just scattered, and I was vice captain, got it taken off me too. I ended up getting bashed onto the barriers, skinned my finger, near broke it, and Murray went absolutely ballistic, and then we lost it. But then as the season progressed, he pushed us back. So that was a wild. That was 2011. We put them we pushed them right to the I'd say the close of.
Well, it was well worth it come the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it was. We don't want to get into it because you want to get into it later, but it's still memories that just flow through my head now. Like, it's
good stuff.
Mental, like.
Good stuff. And then we're going to go into the. So you're right up Restrevor against Burn, and then great year 2010, 2011. County minor stage. How many years of county minor were you? I'm going to say 3, was it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
9, 10.
Did you win any Ulster titles in?
No. 2009 we got beaten in the Ulster final by Armagh. 2010 got beat by Tyrone in the semi-final, and 2011 was the pinnacle, and we were beating Armagh by 11 points, and they actually beat us by a point.
In the Ulster final?
No, in the Ulster first round. So
right, and it's a straight knockout there, year over.
Yeah, so that year was just gone.
Because you after winning the schools, you would have thought you had a great chance of winning.
Yeah, well 2010 I definitely thought we had good enough, and I missed a 1-on-1 in 2010 to maybe win it first.
Right, okay, and what stage was you beat in 2010 then?
Semi-final.
Right, okay. And then your last year was 2011.
2011, and that just crumbled after the round 1. Like I was expecting at least an Ulster of that team. Like we're that good, we just didn't turn up.
Right,
you can be as good as you want, but if you don't turn up, you get sent home.
So you had a really, really exciting couple of at the youth level right up until obviously before you went away, but you had a lot of success at that age for someone at that age. I remember even talking to Tiernan in episode 1, he talked about maybe he didn't get enough success at that age and it might have brought him on further, and he said maybe it might flip the other way. You win too much at that level, it can be maybe a bad thing or an omen moving forward. But you, by the time you reached 18 before you went to Australia, you had won a lot, which in hindsight, you're probably very grateful for.
Absolutely. Look, any success is, I'm happy to see it coming, but look, if I was asking my brother, he would be like, I've 3 championships right from under 12 up to minor, so he doesn't care. Yeah. He's just happy to give me stick the boot in. Okay,
so you had a really good successful underage right up until minor and schools and everything. Talk me through Restrevor seniors. I'm assuming that did you play senior at a young age as well?
No, actually, didn't play for Restrevor. I actually played against Clare for Down before I actually made my full club senior debut.
Oh right, okay, just the way it fell.
Nah, it's just I was a wee bit apprehensive to play. I suppose my dad was a wee bit nervous about burnout at that age because I was playing schools, minors, and then county minors, and then probably throwing Restrevor seniors into that. You would have been out of the house every night of the week, so he was a wee bit reluctant. But I suppose I'm sort of glad too, because there's so many young players Restrevor played at a young age and sort of burnt out by the time they maybe got close to their prime. Like, so I'm sort of glad he maybe held me back that wee bit.
Yeah, that was probably quite smart. Now, I'm looking at. I want to really dive in 2010. Massive year for you personally. That was the year that you went for a trial with the AFL.
Yep.
Right, just talk me through, how did that happen? Did you get a phone call? What way does it work? Because I personally have absolutely no idea. So you're telling me for the first time.
It was, I think they initially started in that year of minors when I was 16. They sort of just seeing the attributes that they would like the AFL that I could sort of contribute to the game, and they just kept watching me, and I think if I hadn't went to St Comans it might not have happened, because St Mark's there was no sort of 6th and 7th year football, so I was sort of glad that I made that jump. And then they kept watching me through the MacRory Cup, and then just one night randomly this number kept ringing me. I was just like, what, who is
this an Irish number?
Yeah, he was Irish, but he was Australian.
Okay.
But I didn't understand his accent, so I just had a new phone, and I thought it was O2 ringing me. I was like, I'm just hung up the phone. And then he rang me the next day, and I was like, it's just about my new phone. He was like, no, completely different. And then he just opened up. I was like, look, I do a bit of scouting over here for Caolan Football Club in Australia, and I've been watching this last couple of years. I'd love to come up and chat with you and your mum and dad and just sort of set out a wee bit of a plan and see if you're interested or not. And so it was Andrew Wheatley, he was called, and Martin Kennedy from Dublin. Okay. So they came up to the house dressed in suits. I was like, mate, you're a bit overdressed coming to where I live, mate. So they came in, just sort of played out on the laptop. So the head recruiter had a bit of a message, and then they just sort of talked about what would be expected over the next couple of years if it was to start. And they kept watching, and then MacRory's semi-final 2010, the national recruiter, Derek Hine, came over and watched me play against Dungannon. Probably touch and go, it wasn't great, but he doesn't care about the Gaelic aspect. He'd seen me running, jumping, and he was like, right, that's all I need. So he took me out for dinner the next night, and he was just like, look, I'd love to invite you over for a trial in the summer. And so then that sort of opened that gate, and then we got beat by Tyrone on the Saturday, and I flew out to Australia on the Tuesday and went for the trial. Out in Australia? Yeah. And was there anybody else from Ireland going out with you, or were you totally on your own? There was at that stage, was it Nixon? Ricky Nixon was that sort of, like, he was playing like a mid-man. Okay. So he was like... But there's no other players? No, it was just me. And when you went to the trial, is it just Aussies? Yeah. Well, actually, sorry. Actually, when I went that year, yes, it was just because Paul Cribben from Kildare had went the year before me, but he was finishing his A-level, so he didn't actually go out until early 2011, I think it was. So it was only me. I was the only Irish one there. Right, and how'd that go? Was it just one session, that was it, or was it a week? No, I was there for 4 weeks. Okay, and that was a 4-week trial? Yeah. So it wasn't just one game? Sort of blood me into this, say, like the panel, just to see how I would interact, and then just different sort of protocols, like 2K time trial, 20-metre sprint, agility test, vertical leap. So they just sort of engaged that in through the 4 weeks, and it was good. I was good with the development coaches. Like, they give me a lot of time and put a lot of effort in, and look, I'm grateful, because it actually pushed me over the thing to get me the contract. So I was just about to leave. I was in the airport, and they just said to me, look, we're going to offer you a contract. Okay, but that contract didn't start until technically 2011. It was November. It was November. Right. That's when, like, the rookie draft would have been. So when I actually was technically drafted, I was in Arizona for a training camp in America. Right. Right, that's a crazy experience. Yeah. And there was another, Marty Clark, was he currently with Collingwood while this was going on? No, he was back. So 2010, sure, he was here with Down getting the All-Ireland. And so he had done his stint and then came back for the All-Ireland campaign, and then he went back, didn't he? Me and him actually flew out together when I was going over for the first full time. So that was around October, November time. So it was good to sort of have that, his experience, and then just after playing in Down with him, you had someone that you could sort of lean on. Technically, I was only a young lad. Yeah, and how many years were you in Australia with Collingwood? 3. And when you're over there, are you staying with a group of other Aussies? Are you staying on your own? Are you staying with Marty? Is he, what's the crack? So Marty I think he lived with a recruiter again because he built up a good relationship. But I was put into a first-year house, so I was actually with the guy who's still playing now, Jamie Elliott.
Okay.
Well renowned.
Okay.
So he wasn't the most talkative lad, but he's doing well for himself over there now. And then there's another guy, and then in my second year I moved in with a guy that I built a good relationship with who wasn't in that first-year house, and then third year me and my missus just got an apartment on our own, and yeah.
So great time, great memories. I was actually on YouTube there before today. I was looking at Collinwood TV. You were doing some interviewing and stuff. I mean, just even by looking at the professionalism over there is probably insane just 10 years ago.
I compared.
Imagine what it's like now.
Our first year, the club was a wee bit dated, and then in our off season, they just pumped 40 million into it, and it was second to none. Like you've walk-in spas, walk-in ice bath, then you have a 25-meter pool. Up above you, you've got the largest altitude room in the southern hemisphere. You're just like, you don't know yourself.
Insane.
Don't know your living, then you come back to maybe using a school gym again at county level. So it's a come down, but unfortunately there's more money over there in a professional sport.
Good stuff. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so we're at the year 2014. You came home. Was there any major reason why you came home, or were you homesick or anything?
Probably something that's a problem with me my whole career, is just impatience. I had another year in my contract and I just felt like I wasn't getting enough game time.
What age were you at that time?
Yeah, I was 21.
Right, okay, still quite very young.
Yeah, so I suppose it's a pretty sort of big step to take. Like a lot of boys were making the jump up to the Holy Lands thinking that was, like I was jumping the other side of the world. Like, so it was daunting, and I thought I was doing enough in the twos to maybe push on with the seniors, but the coach had other ideas, and I just threw the head up and decided to come home.
So you played most of your ball over there with the seconds?
The second, yeah.
Okay, and how many games did you get at the first?
6.
Right, do you remember your debut?
Yeah, against Frio, 2012.
Right, did you score that day?
I didn't set up 2 goals though.
Right, okay, so in Aussie rules, assists would be a big thing. That's covered.
To an extent, yeah. They would look at it, but they're more goal scorers, and if you put tackles on, seems to be the
right, okay.
key areas I like to.
And marks probably. Big catches, like big plays like that.
Never took a specky.
No?
Nah.
Right, okay, sure, you have a couple of years left, you can get it over here. I actually remember Conor Glass when he came home for Glen. They're playing Scotland in the Ulster. I hope QG doesn't give out to me, but he landed up, he put the knee in QG's back and caught a mark.
Got a free against him.
A free against him. Now, you can say what you want, I'm not going to say anything, but it looked fantastic, so you have another couple of years to try to get there.
No, I did it against Ross Common in 2015. The ball was up on the boy's shoulders, and he was like, what?
And did the referee play on?
That's
That's the way it should be. So 2014 came back. So what month did you come back roughly? Did you go straight into the Down setup when you came back?
Did I? No, I actually played for the club under 21s. When I first came back, I came back in October, I think it was.
Okay, so the 21s is going on that year. The senior year had finished?
Yeah, seniors were just as I arrived home at their final league game.
Okay.
I came on for the last 5 or 10 minutes of that there, and then I started playing for the under 21s, but I was in no shape. I was carrying a bad injury and carried a few extra pounds home with me.
Is there a registration issue when you come home, or can you just fly home and just jump straight into a game and back? Have you done that? I know, I think Mark O'Connor might have done it. A couple of lads, I know Mark O'Connor played this year for Dingle, I'm near sure, and then he's flying back. Can you just come home, play a game without any issue?
Yeah, so 2012 I came back, I think the seniors were still floating around the championship, so I came on for the championship. I can't mind what stage it was, but it definitely came on, and then 2013 came on in a league game, or could have been, I can't mind, but it definitely came on. I don't know if there was...
Did you have to ask for permission? Just played and nobody knew nothing?
They weren't going to follow me when I was in Ireland, they don't care. Right,
okay, interesting, right, very good. So, under 21s, you played that, any success there? No, that was your final year? Okay.
A couple of games, I played both of them hungover, so...
Right, okay. I like your honesty. 2017, I want to talk about that year, because you had a good run with Restrevor that year in intermediate, is that right?
Yeah, that was, in terms of senior level, that was the pinnacle of success with Restrevor anyway. I got to the intermediate final, beat Clone, then just gradually got our way through to the Ulster final, where probably met the Moy who had a slop of registered players playing for them, and
right, okay.
But we weren't too far away. I think tactically we maybe did it wrong, and we actually started going at them with 2 men sent off, and we pegged them back from 4 down to 1, and so Well, could have been, but it just didn't happen. But still.
Right. Okay. They beat you by a point, didn't they? In Athletic Grounds, am I going to say?
Yeah.
2017. Yeah, I remember that. I think Sean Caolan that was playing.
Yeah, Sean and Colin and Harry Loughran before. Obviously, he's now retired.
Right. Okay. So that takes you up then 2017. Great year. Now we're not actually in Restrevor. We're in your new club.
Yeah.
When did you make the move here? Downpatrick, isn't that right?
Downpatrick, yeah.
Explain that one.
Yeah, so after what sort of happened with the injury and COVID came, I sort of wasn't going to stay in Restrevor away from the missus, like, because we were engaged, like, so I didn't want to stay too far. Maybe now I probably should have stayed, but I'm not getting out.
Women always pulling you away, huh?
So yeah, I moved up and like I wasn't able to drive just after what happened, and I was then back driving probably after 7 months, and Restrevor were training, and look, it was a wee bit daunting having to drive up and down the road.
How far it's an hour, is it?
Yeah, it's like 34, 35 miles, so it's a 70-mile round trip just to get up and down the road. Like, she was pregnant, and like, I just sort of got to the stage. I said to my dad after we could beat Bicklecoo in the quarterfinals, I can't keep doing that. Like, so if I was going to do it with Down, I didn't want to be doing it all year, like, because it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
You have to leave, like, train starts at 7, I'd have to leave at like 5:45 just to be able to beat the traffic and stuff, and then I wasn't getting home like 10:30. And
I think that's understandable.
Yeah.
And was it understandable straight across the board?
I think people are still annoyed, like, but it was nothing against the club. It was just
there's no bad blood between you and club and anything. All good. And Restrevor now are senior.
Yeah, they were Division 1, but they also got.
Have you met them since you moved? Played against them?
I haven't played against them. The first game they played them, I was starred, and then the second game.
Right. But there's a good chance that he's in the same division now.
Same division next
That'll
year.
be fun.
Hopefully.
Good stuff. Okay, so we're going to go into our first segment of the episode. It's going to be the 16 quick-fire questions, 16 being the number of weeks it usually is for the average club player in the off-season. So, quick-fire now, as best we can, okay? So, straight up, favourite singer, band, musician?
Honestly, I wouldn't have one. Music's not.
No genre, favourite genre?
Nah, my gym playlist is the most random thing you'll ever see in your life.
Pop.
So there's pop, there's rap, there's everything.
Okay.
It's just a complete mix. So honestly, I wouldn't be like, if someone was playing, I'd be like, I want to go and see them. So.
Would there ever be any music in any of your team's dressing room before?
It's a bit skeptical, like.
Right. Okay. I like it.
Pure hardcore, like.
Like in your teams, would your team, like, let's say,
Boys put on music, like, but
out loud?
Yeah, there's speakers going, like, but it's
right.
just their
Right,
music.
okay. You're not picking the tunes? Nothing to do with you?
Nah, I just sit in the corner and get myself ready. Just chill.
Favourite drink of choice? First of all, alcoholic and then non-alcoholic.
Guinness, Coke Zero.
I like that. Yeah, happy enough. Favourite takeaway order?
Ooh, probably fish and chips.
Okay. Anywhere particular? From where?
There used to be it was actually a catering place just out the road, so it's just like on the side of the road. It was the best ever. And then they moved, so it's now probably Chinese, like, but I wouldn't go anywhere else now for it.
Salt and vinegar in the fish and chip?
And gravy.
Gravy, a side of gravy on top of it.
And the chips, mate, load it up.
MacRory.
Oh, mate, nah, don't insult.
Gravy, only KFC gravy in my opinion, or mommy's gravy at Christmas. Favorite holiday destination?
Sorrento in Italy.
Yeah, was there. Yeah.
We were there this year. It was the first holiday with the child. It was lovely, and yeah, there was plenty to do every day.
I have bad stories about Sorrento. I went my own. It was actually during COVID 2020. Scotland just won the championship, and 5 days later I went to Sorrento. And some of you is probably watching this remember what went on in my Instagram story. I was an absolute disgrace on my Instagram story, falling around Sorrento. Went to a bar called Chaplin's Irish bar. You didn't go to it, no?
No, when you have a child, you don't have that option.
Right, I'll find out soon, I'm sure. So I had a good time in Capri and stuff, but Sorrento gives me anxiety. Favorite pair of boots?
Nike Tempos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now would you get them in studs and mollies?
Yeah, I would. If I like a pair, I would get them.
You like a white boot, don't you?
During the summer I do, yeah. But I think I'll change that now because I was wearing white boots and I done my knee, so
okay.
might go orange or something.
Bad omen. Gotcha. Orange, yeah, much better. Least favourite football ground?
Does it have to be in this country?
Yeah.
Okay. Good question. Least favourite? Probably Warren Points, just for down my knee.
Bad memory, just.
And I was on Friday the 13th.
Not to do a Warren Point.
I don't like them either, but I like some people, but when we're playing them, I don't like them.
Okay. We don't like anybody we're playing against. Morning routine, now day to day, nothing to do with football.
Nothing to do.
Do you have a similar one?
It's set now. The child's your alarm clock. You have to get her up, get her ready, get her breakfast, and then obviously look after yourself with whatever time you've left before you start work.
Right, okay. Interesting. So, like before, like I asked the same question in episode 1, episode 2. Before that, was there anything strict? Like I know myself, I have to stick to a morning routine or my whole day is completely ruined. And then people I've talked to, they're not like that. They can get on, they might wake up at 8, maybe wake up at 6, they mightn't have breakfast, they might have breakfast, they might have coffee. I would have personally structured. Are you anything like that, or just go?
Would probably get up around 7 or if I've PTs, I could be up at 5:45, like, but I would.
Nothing's major strict.
No, but I always don't leave the house in the morning without having my breakfast, like.
Yeah, okay, very good. So, worst trainer in the down squad in the past, in a year?
In a year? Good question. Who could I slate? There's actually not, off the cuff, like usually like some people are like bang, off the cuff. Who can
Anybody in your club?
No, Jesus Christ, half the team.
Which club?
Downpatrick, Jesus Christ, their shoes aren't untied, or the boots are untied and they're saying they're sore. So I've noticed, there's a few in this here are just.
Right, okay, we'll not name any names, not get in trouble. Most embarrassing moment in your career, in GAA?
Oh, probably getting sent off against Armagh, 2019. That was my first ever red card in my whole career. And
straight red? Straight. What was it for?
Aidan Nugent was running, I sort of caught him with my shoulder and head and tried to stop him, but they tried to say that it through the elbow, but.
Right, okay.
I managed through the same one and got away with it, and I got.
That's the way it goes, isn't it?
Match out, yeah.
Pre-game ritual?
When I lived in Restrevor, it would have been getting up, breakfast, like so porridge and a coffee, and then get down to the tide and get a shower before I'd head up to the pitch.
Get into the water first? Mm-hmm. And would you not think that would kind of be detrimental,
No, I loved it.
Into the water before a game? Mm-hmm. Wow,
actually,
okay.
I learned that from a guy in Australia, Luke Ball. He used to do like 15 lengths, swim 15 lengths in the pool before he'd go and play an FL game. But yeah, just jumped in the tide, just made me feel refreshed. That
is very interesting, okay. Do you track your performance, or are you old school? Do you have any Whoop, or do you have Polar or Garmin run?
No, I just have Statsman slagging me.
Okay.
Nah, you do get, well nowadays you do get everything sort of sent on to you, so I'm pretty critical of my own performance.
Never got involved in the Whoop?
No, but I would like to.
Right, okay. Right, good stuff. We'll pass that on. Daytime or nighttime game?
I actually heard was it Tiernan's was like he was caught in the middle, but I'd probably prefer a nighttime game, because just in terms of spreading out your nutrition, because if it's an earlier game you're sort of rushing and you need to you don't want to have your breakfast too big and then you're sort of having your pre-game meal, so I'd prefer a night game, yeah.
Okay, very good.
Nutritional aspect.
Hangover cure routine?
Pre-child, lie up, get ready for a takeaway that night and about 6 Fanta lemons, and post-child, get up and get on with it, because she has plenty of energy to keep you on your toes.
Oh, right, very good. Your toughest marker? Sometimes you've done the marking. I would imagine you probably have done most of the marking, man marking. No, ever marks you?
No, it wasn't a marker, like even though I was a defender. I was just going forward and hoping that my man didn't score. You
went attack, that was your line defence?
Defence is attack.
I get it, yeah. Anybody stands out?
Keegan came on to me for the last 20 minutes. Lee Keegan.
Okay.
Against Mayo. And
he would have done the same, yeah.
Just a shrewd, you had no time. He was
100 miles an hour.
Oh my God. He's definitely.
What year was that?
That was 2019.
Right, it was in the back door?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Goals sort of 2 that day, but then he came on to me and he's fairly lit up to what a tight defender's like.
Yeah, right, okay, very good. So, now I know you've played half forward, half back and midfield. What would you prefer now if you had to pick?
Half back.
What, just same thing going forward?
It seems to be, you find yourself in more space going down the wing, but got a couple of opponents that were sent out to just go with me. So, but yeah, I would say half-back would be the most enjoyable.
Okay. And lastly, most influential person in your GAA life?
My old fella. If he's annoyed, or if he doesn't speak to me after a match, you've done well, but he never didn't speak to me. So
right,
he always was critical, and not to the extent that it was annoying. It was just going through the basics, like. So he's definitely kept me on the straight and narrow to an extent.
Very good, very good. Today's episode is kindly sponsored by Whoop. Whoop is a device that I've been using for years, which monitors my recovery, sleep, training and health, and gives me personalised recommendations and coaching feedback. Whoop analysed my key metrics like HRV and resting heart rate to determine a daily recovery score, and shows me how lifestyle and training behaviours affect my recovery. Top GAA athletes at county and club level are using Whoop daily to take the guesswork out of their training. Based on your recovery, you'll get a daily target exertion goal to help avoid overtraining and undertraining. I have left a link in the description box for you to sign up for a free month to use towards your off-season training and recovery. Okay, so you're back from Australia, 2014. Talk me through 15, 16. We're going to get into 17 with Down. 17 was probably a really good year. You went straight into the 2015 panel, I'm assuming, is it, with Down?
Yeah, so Jim MacRory was the manager that year, and met up with him. He's actually living in Restrevor as well. So yeah, had a chat with Jim and went back into the panel, but to be honest, I wasn't nowhere near him. Compared to 2017 to 15, I was night and day. Just came back from Australia, got hit with 2 hamstring injuries consecutively, coming back, and just wrecked my year because you weren't able to get any sort of fitness built up. So yeah, 15 was a...
You were in the panel, but you never really seen many minutes, did you?
No, I played every game.
Oh, did you?
Good.
Oh, right, okay. So you didn't feel comfortable at that level?
Nah, I just knew I wasn't anywhere near the level I was carrying. I was probably sitting around 91, 92 kg, so... Right, okay. I was injured.
You felt you were carrying weight?
Oh, big time, yeah. I was injured in Australia by that stage, me and Marty were sort of fed up, and we were playing a bit of indoor soccer during the week, and ended up blocking a ball, and the 2 bones in my ankle sort of came apart a wee bit, but I couldn't let it onto the club, so I was popping like 10 painkillers just to get through the last couple of games.
The last couple of games in Australia?
Yeah, just because I didn't want to be sitting out before I went, so I came back.
So you really knew you were going to come home well before the season was over, okay. So 2015, 2016...
I left the panel.
2016 left the panel.
Just had a lot of stuff going on off pitch that just mentally the head just wasn't...
You're still quite young, 23 at this stage?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, 23. So yeah, I just knew there was a few things, just a lot of baggage in the life that I just says playing county football is just not for me this year, and then end up going to New York and just recharging the batteries, and then always said I wasn't going to go back then. It seems to be a common theme with me, and I just decided after New York, I was sitting at home and the boys were about to start training, and then I just got in contact with him and saying I'd love to come back. And
who were you playing with in New York? Did you play football over there?
Played with Monaghan.
Oh, did you? Right, okay.
It was their first ever senior championship. So Finty Kelly and Tommy Kerr came over.
Okay, very good. Darren Freeman's probably over there too, was he?
And
David.
Yeah, everyone knows Davey.
Yeah. Very good. I didn't know that. I didn't know you went to New York and you won a title over there, and you came back then and then straight back in for 17.
Did a couple of trials, yeah. So I had to go back to the trial basis. I wasn't just straight back in, and then. Yeah, and it was a bit of a ropey start in 2017.
Yeah, okay. 2017 was a great year for Down for yourself, probably the one year that stood out. Yeah, it's probably the pinnacle, without any sort of team success. Yeah. We sort of had 2016 leading into 2017, like you hadn't won a game, and then 2017 we lost our first 2 National League games, and then you had the week off, then we came up against Meath and Uri and just put a performance together, and then backed that up against Derry, and again, didn't win another game, and then drew with Cork in the last day to stay in Division 2. And then just after that Cork trip, look, there's probably about 6 or 7 boxes of beer sitting on the bus on the way back up the road, and just everything just clicked. Right. So then you just come into the championship, everyone was just in it for each other. Like, so people say the drink is bad, but sometimes a drink amongst men can be good. So we actually embraced that, and the group just
I actually can't explain how close it just came, and then Armagh arrived, things just started ticking in morning, just ticking in. I think Tyrone were just a lot, they were playing in them sort of latter stages a lot more frequent than we were, so we were well caught out, and then it's sometimes hard to beat the same team twice in the same year, and Monaghan caught us in the qualifiers in Croke Park.
Yeah, and that year, 2017, you got an Ulster final, and then Monaghan caught you in the back door. You're nominated for an All-Star that year, is that right?
Yeah, me and Conor Harrison.
Very good. So, and that was the only year you were nominated? Is that right? Yeah, so from the years of 18, 19, let's say, how come you didn't kick on then, those years? Was it the same manager?
No, it was Burnsley, God rest him. Was 2018 with the same team from 2017, but Geroyd Adams came in 2018. I suppose the amount of people that sort of just leave and then you're trying to blood new people in, that you can't get that frequent sort of bond between the same team to actually build something. You're always sort of one player of like a certain position's leaving and you're trying to refill it, and then so on. So 2018 was sort of that sort of year. We had so many chances, like in the league. I think we were kicking like 25, maybe 30 wides a game. In some games in Cavan we missed 5 one-on-one chances. Like all we need to do is win one of them, and we're staying.
You get relegated in 28th Division 3.
Yeah. So then Paddy Talley and his team came in 2019, and a lot of younger players started coming through, and things were starting to take a wee bit of traction. We got beat by Armagh in the first round of the championship that year. I got sent off, and then we had a run in the qualifiers a wee bit. We'd beat Tipperary and then met Mayo. So that was the end of that season, and then COVID sort of hampered that year, and I had a holiday in the Royal for 8 days before that season started.
We'll get into that. So we're at 2020, 2021. Like I really want to dive in, if you don't mind, over the last couple of years, because there sometimes seem to be on the wrong side of good and bad chats, and there'd be sometimes controversy. I know this year, obviously, you were made captain this year, is that right? And it never really kicked off in 2017. Really good year, like you said, and then 2019, 2020, 2021, it seemed that the club, obviously Kilcoo, with the success they had, that never went into the county team. And there's so much quality in Down, there always has been, with the players that maybe aren't playing for the county, that maybe should step up or could step up. And is there something that maybe isn't out in the open that you feel is holding the right players to step up and play for Down over the last couple of years?
No, I think it's just personal decision. Like sometimes you just finish a club year, you might not want to just jump in to the county like it.
But shouldn't every player not want to play for county, or is that what? Maybe it's just not in them or in people. But
look, I can't speak for anyone else. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of good players in Down that just aren't playing. But look, personal choice, and look, you can ask them and they can just say no, but you're not going to chase them, if you know what I mean. So
absolutely,
yeah, it's just getting that, just bringing a team together and just keeping it together.
And James McCartan came in this year. He came in. Was it 1 year he was there? 1 year, okay. And it was a tough year for Down. Obviously, there was maybe some issues going on in the background with the training camp that just went on that maybe didn't stay at training camp. I think there was issues. Some people treated it like a training camp, and then other people maybe didn't. There was a bit of a fallout. James left and then come back just before the Monaghan game. Is there anything you want to dive in there, or is it all kind of out in the open?
It's all out in the open. Like everyone knows we made the mistake of going drinking, and
was the whole team gone drinking?
I think there was only one who didn't, and Conor Poland was at the hospital, so he was missing. So yeah, everyone was having a few.
Right, okay, and that wasn't part of the plan?
No.
Right, okay.
To be brutally honest, I was hindering whether to go back or not, and I think probably the most selfish thing I did last year was actually go back because I didn't want to be there.
Okay.
And I just thought I had to be there, which now, having maybe a half decent career after 1 year, I now look like I've just pissed that all down the drain just by, the worst thing that I could have done was made me captain, because then I'd sort of maybe thought I had to stay, but I used to hate leaving the house, having to go to train.
Right, okay.
If anyone is watching, just be like, if you're not enjoying it, don't put yourself through it, because it can wreck the way you think and the way you carry yourself. As I was vice captain, that wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have allowed that to happen, but just
Yeah, well, that's really honest from you.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. And just now you're 29, right? Like, you've lots of football left in you. Obviously, you're injured at the minute, but coming back, would you say that there's an opportunity to go back to Down if the right people come in, or the right group got together, or if there's meetings held, or are you?
I don't even think it was the right people. It's just maybe having that. Like even 2021, I knew I was just like, and starting like the child was coming, and I was just maybe starting to become a chore instead of like I used to love going home, getting ready, go to training. Now it was just like started to feel like I'm carrying a load of baggage. I was like, maybe it's time just to pack it in. And when I did pack it in 2 days later, I've done my knee, and maybe that's the best thing. That's karma for the way I carried myself this year for Down. So I'm a big believer. You get what you deserve. And
okay.
Maybe I deserve that injury just to maybe rein my neck in a wee bit. So
you've had your fair few injuries over the. That's what happens when you're playing at such a high level and you put yourself out there.
I know, and you put yourself out there on nights out too.
Yeah. So there was you just mentioned you were in hospital. If you don't mind talking about that incident.
No, go ahead.
That's bang on. What month? I'm not too sure. I did a bit of research myself, but I didn't get the full story. What year was that in?
Yeah, that was late 2019. So it was like we played for Mana in the McKenna Cup, and just arrived home, went to a christening, my auntie's child's christening, and then just after the night out, just ended up being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And where was it?
Outside the Canal Court. Just going to get a taxi, and just the wrong group of boys were there. And
you're with your brother?
Yeah, my now wife and his wife.
Okay, oh, they were there too. I'm sure that was an awful couple of days.
I can't really remember the first 7 days being in hospital, but I've seen the video, like, because I had to go to the police station. But
there was CCTV, was there?
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't look great. Like.
Not pretty.
No, not great. But that's the risk you take. You throw a dig and you hit the person in the wrong place. Like it. I was lucky I hit my head the way I hit it, because had it been a wee bit deeper, it was lights out.
Fuck me, right, okay. So you didn't play any ball then for how many months?
Club started back in July. We were playing like, they weren't really competitive league games, so we just played a couple of them, but I was actually told not to play, but I played anyway. So a stubborn old head, like you can keep so long, and then so I need to make sure I don't throw my head with this, I can get back running with this. So so it's probably about 7 months, but then competitively, the first round of the championship was in August. So.
Okay, Caolan. So Caolan's injured at the moment, so he's quite unhappy that he's unable to do the shooting challenge and the 40-yard dash. Now, I had my money that you would be top of the leaderboard with not the shooting, the run. You would have fancied that, would you?
Just put me up there already.
Put him NB or something, just stroke. But you might come back next year, all going well, for season 2 to break that 4.5 second top of the table, okay? But what we're going to do here next segment is I have a couple of clips here. I'm going to show Caolan here, and he's going to talk through what he remembers from the clips, how he felt, and give us a bit of insight on what's going on in the video. We're going to have the video in top of the YouTube video, so you can watch along yourselves. Here, you hit play on the top right. This is 2010. This is your goal in the MacRory Cup final against Oma, am I right?
That's correct. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm throwing this ball as if I'm a magician, and then next thing.
That steps, was it?
No, never. Maybe when you're fast, you get away with it.
Who passed you the ball there?
Colin Stevenson.
Right. Okay. Was he? Wee Stiffy.
That's his nickname, Stiffy.
I watched the full game. It's on YouTube, by the way. And he kicked the winner that day, was it?
No, we're actually leading by 3 at that stage, but Stiffy was being so active in the play, but he couldn't get on the scoreboard, and then he scored, which put us 4 points up. And
yeah, he got on a lot of ball that day, and then he only kicked a point. But he did so much more.
Yeah.
And I was looking through that Oma team, the amount of names: Ronan O'Neill, Niall Sludden, Connor Clark. That was and for yourselves, Ryan Johnson, Jerome Johnson, 2 All-Ireland winners. Yeah. Yourself. Who else was on that team?
Al McParlin, Conor Goff. Who else? You had Donal O'Hare. Yeah,
Donal O'Hare, yeah.
You had Ross McGarry on the bench. Shane McCartan came on that day, but she went and played for Burnley. So, yeah, it was definitely a big game.
Right, okay. And that goal, no steps, quality goal?
No steps, never.
That was in the first half, wasn't it?
Second half. My first half was ferocious, yeah.
That's the only thing you done that game?
No, I scored now 2 points.
So, I'm going to go here to probably, from what I can remember, you can tell me, this was against Armagh. This was your 2 points that day.
Yeah.
You want to hit play. It was 2000 and what?
2017 this was.
Yeah, so this really kind of kick-started your nomination for All-Star.
I'd say so, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. See the white boots on that day?
Lovely.
Lovely, warm, sunny day. And where was that in?
I was in Uri.
Right, okay. Home game as well.
So yeah, so I got
one-fisted point. What was this one?
yeah, just kicked it. Touch and go if that was wide, like.
Really? Hawkeye needed?
I was just running away. I didn't know what they were doing. So they threw their arm up and away I went.
Bit of a question why you should have been shooting from there.
Why not?
Scoring zone.
I was winging them all year and they were going over, so I might as well take the chance.
Very good. You won that game. I think he's won that well, did you?
I think we won in the end by 4.
Okay.
I think Armagh kicked 3 goals in the first half, like, but it was a good game. Like, that's what I mean. That year, it was just everything just came together and just everyone was there.
After the Cork game, you said in the league.
Yeah, and just the group was
hard
just
to believe how one game could just change the whole year.
change everything. Yeah.
Okay. And last thing here, I'm going to get you to play. This is the last final moments of the Hogan Cup in 2000. Maybe you can actually tell me.
That was 2011. Jeez, there's Shane Walsh. I knew that day he was going to be phenomenal.
Shane Walsh for
St. Jarlath.
Was that Galway? Shane Walsh, is it? Oh, right, okay, you've beaten that year.
Yeah.
Who were you running to here?
I look like an Egypt, but I was running to Caolan Mooney. So the week leading up to that game, I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday, we were playing in the yard. We were playing a bit of football and Jerome ran into a pole and near knocked himself out. So I took him to the nurse's office and Cahill had a priest coming in to speak to us for Terra Rafferty, and we arrived in and Murray wasn't happy we were late and gave us 2 of us a bollocking, and that got into the training session, and then so like, it was a wee bit of a fallout, like, so then just at the end, because he was the one that sort of pushed me to go to the college, like, so it was good just to finish it with actually winning. So
right, okay, you ran straight to him. I think somebody actually comes in and gives you a hug and you told him to get away and you wanted to get to him.
He was a Restrevor player. I was like, get away from me, mate. But nah, I knew where I was going. I just wanted to.
And that was 2011.
That was.
Right, okay. And Shane Walsh playing that day?
Oh, he kicked 9 points that day. He was fun.
Quality.
Jesus.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
He was good. They actually had a lot of players like, I can't mind him. Ian. Oh, he was
forward.
An all-star. Yeah, he was playing. Ian Burke, and then Feely. He actually broke his collarbone. I can't mind the ginger fella. He was playing for Galway. And then there had a couple of boys, like, so.
Yeah.
They had a good team that year.
So when you win the MacRory, it's just the 4 teams of every province that goes into an All-Ireland series, is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and who just beat in 2010 Hogan Cup final?
St. Brenton's Killarney.
Right, okay. That's the team Clifford won?
Yeah, he was with. Yeah.
Right, okay. And who's playing that day for them?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, no, I'd say there's definitely names there somewhere. Okay, very good. So that's that segment. Like I said, I would have loved to have in the shooting challenge and the run, but that's down the line maybe next year, okay? So I want to touch on the S&C world. I like to do this every single episode. I like to bounce ideas and maybe get an insight what Down has done. We'll talk actually about Australia. S&C, I'm sure that was all the craze back then, even back to 2010, 2011.
In terms of what it actually is, it's no different to what you're doing now, but just it was more just rammed down your throat in a professional sort of setup. You were doing it during pre-season, you were in the gym 4 times. It was
just as important as a pitch session.
Oh, big time. But the way they worked it was pre-season, you're out in the pitch, you would have covered anywhere between 16 to 18 kilometres. You would have come in, you would have did a conditioning session.
One session?
Yeah.
How would they break that up in intervals?
Just get through it. And you did all your skill-based stuff, and then until you got to that there, you just did different runs. Right,
okay, that's insane. So your even recovery back then, massive, ice baths, hot baths, saunas?
There wasn't saunas as much, it was ice baths and the spa, and then you'd just walk and stretch through the pool, and then you had masseurs there 24/7, well not 24/7, but when we were there, they were always there.
Right, okay.
For rubs, and then you had recovery boots and all that there too. So.
And what about nutrition in Australia?
Looking back, my first year, I was like, Jesus, there was minimal. I was like, they're looking at me to put weight on, but now like having some sort of idea about nutrition now, I'm like, they were just like, we need to put weight on. So I was like, I remember on a Thursday when we were off, I was getting 4 bits of toast, 4 fried eggs, and a tub or tin of spaghetti. I was just like,
why do we think nutrition is always behind? Because even obviously now, all county teams, nutritionists, club teams, a lot of club teams, but Like I said the same thing to Sam when he first came into Louth in 2015, 2016. There was no nutrition involved. And why do we think that is? Any idea?
Maybe some people are just a wee bit dated and don't believe that it's needed.
Yeah, and it's massive because how were you expected to go put on weight, lift all the weights, and then not have the right nutrition to allow muscle growth?
I was putting the weight on, but I was also putting too much fat on.
Yeah.
So, like looking back, I was like thinking, that sort of set me back a wee bit because I was always, my skin folds are always big, but sure, I was just left my house, like where my ma was making me dinner, and me winging it, trying to put stuff together, like burnt toast and eggs and all that there.
Right, okay, and then you left Australia, you came home, and what was the S&C scene back then? Straight into it, the S&C all set up?
S&C was sort of, I think Kieran Sloan was initially came in with gym, and like the facilities we used the Abbey, like, so it's pretty confined and small, so it wasn't setting the world alight, to be fair. Like, it had the basics to cover certain things, but even now, like nutrition and that wouldn't have been really hit on. You're just given ideas of what to eat, but there was no actual nutritionist.
Yeah, and then now, obviously, last year, all in, no S&C, or?
Part-time S&C, and then 2021 there was no S&C.
Why was that?
I can't answer that.
Okay, right. So
it's nothing to do with me. I can't answer it.
Okay, so you never did any primer sessions, no gym work. Everyone had to do their own stuff off the pitch.
You sort of had Mickey Walsh, who was the physio. He put us through gym sessions, but it was like only once a week, and then you were just doing stuff on your own. So maybe that's held us back a wee bit. Just haven't got that. Maybe
that's a factor in lack of professionalism. And I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you telling me that there was no setup like that, it would bother some players.
Yeah, I didn't like it, but sure, I'm just a player, I can't say anything.
Okay, and you, with the knowledge you have, you're doing your studies, or you've done studies in PT, you're doing PT on the side now, aren't you?
Yeah, it's the side hustle. I'd like to do it full time, but you just, until I get...
So you have big interest in it?
Yeah, love it, and just love seeing people coming in and building their confidence, coming from nothing, so yeah, it's...
Brilliant, so you were able to cover all that yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay, and we touched on it in the quick fire questions. You don't use any tracking devices whatsoever?
It's have my Apple Watch.
Right, okay.
But sure, it's just nowhere near as accurate. Like I did a session for you, right? And I said I burned 600 calories. I was like, if it's that easy to burn 600 calories, I'll be in shape.
Yeah, because I was talking to Tiernan. I know we're talking about the Whoop. In every video, actually, the other two lads had the Whoop. Tyrone, Peter Donnelly had them actually in a Whoop group, which is fantastic. I've done the same in the past with the Mon ladies and stuff, and even my own club, where if you have the Whoop strap, you're able to go into a group, and the S&C coach is able to monitor every single session that you do. So if he wakes up in the morning, if I'm an S&C coach of a team, I can see everyone's score, their recovery, their HRV, and then I'm able to actually put them into gym programs that's going to suit what the recovery is. So I'm expecting things like Whoop and other devices. That's the way it's going to go. Where in 5 or 10 years, every S&C coach will have everybody on something like Whoop, where they're able to track the recovery, which is fantastic. So, but the fact that you said you don't have any, but you said you could be interested in getting involved,
especially coming back from this.
Yeah, absolutely, good stuff. So, look at episode 3.
Good job, mate.
Good stuff, brilliant. Look at great honesty, and love chatting to you.
Have to be honest in life, don't you?
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, guys.
100.